Awards show season kicks off tonight with the first major show of the year. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association will present the 76th annual Golden Globe Awards ceremony. Unlike the Oscars, they honor the best in both film and television. Killing Eve star Sandra Oh and Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Andy Samberg will co-host the event, which has become known for a laid-back, unpredictable atmosphere. Christopher Rosen joins me now. He is the executive in charge of TVGuide.com. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So I am so glad to be talking to you about this. There are a few shows I want to ask you about, but first, is there a theme that is running through the Golden Globes this year? Does it seem like there is one?
I mean, I think, it's an interesting year for movies and TV. There were a lot of, big movies and a lot of great shows. We were talking about the Americans before, but some shows that ended. And then I think, this is the first year. Last year at the Golden Globes was a really big Me Too moment. It was the first time on the red carpet for Time's Up, and everybody wore their black ribbons. I think you're going to kind of see that again. I think they have like bracelets this year and stuff. So we're going to kind of like go back into another award show season here and see how Hollywood reacts to that. I think is really interesting. And then just I think people are really excited about Sandra Oh and Andy Samberg hosting the Golden Globes. It's a different kind of flavor maybe.
Yeah, tell me about that dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like, to me it feels like, when you watch these award shows and they kind of like, there's always usually a host, mostly a comic, and then people watch and they're like, oh, I wish those two presenters could have hosted. And that's kind of like, feels like they're preempting that kind of like viral moment by having two people who maybe you wouldn't expect to be together and kind of have fun. And I'm really excited to see them, especially with the fact that the Oscars still don't have a host. And I think that maybe we'll see what they can learn from these two. Maybe then we'll see what they decide for the Oscars. But it's going to be a very exciting night.
So let's talk about some of the tightest races.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, we talked about the Americans off camera, and I am a huge fan of Kerry Russell.
Yes.
How do things look this year?
Well, I mean, I think, it's the last season for the Americans, or it was the last season for the Americans. So this is the last opportunity to honor Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys and the show. Matthew Rhys won at the Emmys, so it would make sense that like they could all win, and like that would be really great. But Kerry Russell's in a really tough category. First of all, the host of the show is in her category, Sandra Oh, for Killing Eve. You could see the Golden Globes maybe in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association being like, this could be a great moment to get her up there, and it would create like kind of like a buzzy thing. But my pick is actually Julia Roberts for the Amazon series Homecoming. She's really good on the show, but also it's Julia Roberts. And with the Hollywood Foreign Press, it's a group of journalists who are like, very excited about celebrity and stuff, and usually they've kind of bent towards a celebrity rather than picking the maybe best performance. Julia Roberts.
Politics involved?
Yes,
I'm shocked,
yes.
Shocked.
And I really think Julia Roberts you don't get much bigger than Julia Roberts. I have a hard time believing they're going to invite her to the show as a nominee and then not have a moment where she could be up on stage and accepting an award.
I mean, who I have heard is amazing. I haven't actually seen her show.
She is great. That show is very good. It's on Amazon. It's based on a podcast. It's a 30-minute drama, which is kind of like a nouveau thing, I feel like, and it's great for time-cognizant people when you don't want to spend 60 minutes watching a show. You can watch a drama in 30 minutes. So, yeah.
Very on-demand and convenient. All right, let me ask you about film here, because Incredibles 2 became the highest-grossing animated film of all time. Does it have the potential to win Best Animated Picture? Yeah,
I think it actually does. In the past, Pixar movies have traditionally done incredibly well at the Golden Globes. Basically, if there is a Pixar movie nominated, it wins, and Incredibles 2 obviously is a Disney Pixar movie. The dark horse in this category is actually Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
There's so much buzz around that.
A lot of buzz around it. It's a really fun, exciting movie, kind of a different type of superhero movie. It's based on Spider-Man, but the traditional Peter Parker character is the sidekick kind of to Miles Morales, who is a half black, half Puerto Rican teenager from Brooklyn.
There's a lot of layers to that.
Yeah, and it's a really fun movie. It kind of like takes apart superhero movies. It's produced by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who did the Lego Movie, and it is a lot of fun. It might be honestly too cool for the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. It has been a very big critical favorite. I mean, the smart money's on Incredibles 2. It made a ton of money, and a lot of people have seen it. It's also a great movie and a great superhero movie. So, but it's going to be one of those two. I'll pick Incredibles 2, though.
Okay, I'll be watching for that. Okay, so let's go back to the small screen.
Yes.
So what else are you looking at here? I mean, what are some of the other shows that you would expect to win?
So I think another big show, big nominee is Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, another Amazon show. Not to keep stomach for Amazon shows, but they have a big platform here at the Golden Globes. last year it won Best Comedy, and Rachel Brosnahan was the actress who plays Mrs. Maisel on the show. She won. They're both up again. I could really see a scenario where both of them win. But again, the Golden Globe sometimes likes to be different and kind of go against the grain. It could have an opportunity for a show like Barry from HBO to win, or even in the actress side, maybe Candice Bergen nominated for Murphy Brown, a return of that show. It's very possible. Again, kind of going with the Julie Roberts thing, where they want somebody really famous and creating a great moment up on stage. So maybe we'll see that. But Mrs. Maisel is probably a good bet to kind of take home some hardware tonight.
Yeah, I saw the first episode. Really funny, very interesting.
Yes,
so.
it's from Amy Sherman Palladino and her husband Dan Palladino. They did Gilmore Girls and stuff.
Right.
So if you like Gilmore Girls, kind of like you'll know what the vibe of that show is. It's very talky.
All right, so let's go back to the hosts, because you mentioned this off the top. So you have Andy Samberg and you have Sandra Oh. The dynamic here, to me, is not one that you necessarily look at and go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. What do you think was sort of the factor that kind of led them to kind of pair these two together?
Yeah, I honestly think it's that exact reaction, that it doesn't really make sense. So you're kind of like, here's Andy Samberg. You would expect a guy like Andy Samberg maybe to host the Golden Globes. He has an SNL background. He's really funny. And in the past, when he's done stuff on the Emmys or anything like that, he's been a big success and people liked him. And Sandra Oh, you're taking an actress who is just really beloved right now. I feel like she was obviously like a very big part of Grey's Anatomy for so many years. She's, been lauded in the past for her film work in movies like Sideways, but she's really great on Killing Eve. I feel like, the internet has really taken her under their wing, and like she's just very popular right now. And I think, you're creating something where people at home are maybe like, I wouldn't expect to see them together, but that's great. I want to watch this and see what it's like. And I think you're kind of like going to see them creating a moment. And I'm really excited to see it. I mean, there's really not a lot of precedent for this. Maybe an Anne Hathaway, James Franco type situation from the Oscars a few years ago. Right. That was really slammed at the time, but I wonder in now 2019 if they did host it again, like how that would be responded to. I think it maybe would be a little different because it was so different at the time to have just non-comics hosting a show. So here you have a comic in Andy Samberg and then an actress like Sandra Oh. I'm excited. I think it's going to be really fun.
It will be fun to watch. Christopher Rosen, thanks so much for stopping by,
Thank you so
Chris.
much.
Appreciate it.